melted, like they were just barely melted.
Yeah.
I was worried about them a little bit, but I was able to push them into the parts that were very melted, and I feel better about that.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
Flatter.
So it turns out that we have to do both sides in the pizza oven because the pizza stone just isn't hot enough to wet melt the bottom, and that's what we learned over here on the bottom of this. Yeah, it's the metal. Well, aluminum does transport heat really well. That's why the top got all melted like this, but the bottom hardly got melted. So things have to be flipped over as you've done there, otherwise we just don't get the melt. But I think now it should work. And it's funny because the top is still, this is still up at 300, and we turned this off a long time ago. Up at the top, you know, where because heat rises, of course, but somehow the pizza stone, I'd have to use that temperature thing once we get new batteries and then see what it comes to.
I'll be really interested to see what the temperature actually is or on the stone. And is it the same across the stone? I would assume so, but maybe
But you know, look
not.
at what they do. They put air vents and lift it up so there's convection of air underneath, probably to keep the bottom of the pizza from burning. Because it would really, your crust would just completely fry if there wasn't an insulating layer of air there. So the stone gets hot and retains heat, but probably nothing near the 300 or 400 degrees that you'd need to melt. Probably that's the whole thing of the design. That's why there's an air gap, or they'd leave it right on the ground, right? So I think these are idealized for making good pizzas, but that's not good for melting plastic. It's probably a good thing. Control that temperature. It'll be interesting. That means that if we heat it from the bottom, then we won't have that burning effect at the edges here that we were getting in the back of the oven back here. We will have an even heating on the ground that'll come up, and it won't burn the bottom. So it's probably a good design. This may turn out to be the best oven for biogas heating underneath. If I can just get 2 tubes for the gas to come up so it's evenly heated as opposed to heating it in the center, and then, but even so, even if it's heated in the center, it should spread because of that air gap, right? So I think this will turn out to be ideal in that regard. You know, it just gonna, it should work because the heat's gonna ultimately transfer from that rail and that rail because of that air gap, which is an insulator. In fact, it might be just heat it from one central point and don't worry. Maybe I'll just stick the biogas stove underneath. And if that's the case, can you hold on to this for a second? I'm just gonna go get the biogas stove. I don't think it'll fit, but it might. If it does, we're golden, and nothing else has to be designed.
Hi.
Are you here, Evan?
Hi.
I thought he was talking to me.
I'm in the RV.
Oh, you're in the RV?
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
I'm in its bedroom.
you're in the bedroom?
Yeah,
the
I am in
RV's
the
bedroom.
bedroom.
Are you taking a nap?
Nope. I'm gonna surprise you.
With what?
I'm gonna surprise. I can't
Alright,
tell
so,
you that.
I think we found the
surprise
perfect
I'm gonna give
solution.
you.
If we understand the way that the pizza stone
Toys,
is designed.
I'm gonna
So
get
imagine that
them,
this, we
and
don't
then
need this anymore
you can
because we're not putting pots on
return
it.
back when
Imagine if the yeah, look at that.
Whoa.
It fits perfectly. Oh my gosh. This is perfect. So here's the home biogas stove. It's got several jets.
Okay, Evan?
So that's going to distribute it from the center,
Okay.
the center, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 burners. So it's going to be a circumference of that known diameter. We're going to slip it in like this. It's perfectly underneath.
What's on the stone?
It's just metal. No, look at, I'll open it up and you can see. So come and look at this. It's just metal, right?
But it's gonna.
Now look how it's not going to touch the pizza stone. It's going to heat this metal here, right?
Okay.
It's going to heat that metal there, but the stone is sitting on these rails,
Oh, I didn't know you could take that off.
right? The stone is sitting on those rails, so that's the only transfer of the heat is going to be there and there onto the stone, which is going to spread that heat on the stone. And as we noticed, the bottom, you can see, and also look, the bottom never gets that hot. Look at this. This was the bottom. It didn't melt. This was the top.
It's like with the cookies today.
Yeah, like with the cookies today. So it's designed to keep the bottom from burning, so you don't get a burned pizza across the bottom. But the top melts. You melt the cheese and melt vegetables. That's the design of a pizza oven. Therefore, what we want is to heat the whole chamber. And once we remove this, come over here. Once we remove this part here, which is what they use for doing the gas heating from the back, because they assume you want to get a charred sort of flavor. When we remove that and remove this wood hopper and remove the separator, we'll get the full 21 inches so we can slide the entire tray in, like so. But we'll be heating it from the bottom. The bottom will not get too hot, but then neither will the top, because we're not blasting heat in this side with an open flame. It'll just be heat transference, so it'll be easy to know when that gets to 300 or 400 degrees. The bottom won't be at 400 degrees because of that insulator. The cavity, the whole cavity will be at 400 degrees. The bottom will have that insulator, so it must be the retained heat of the heating stone, and we will have to flip it.
Yeah.
So the next experiment is to use this tray again and to put these shredded bottles in, because then we don't have to worry about that weird melting like that. We use the same tray in there, but we heat it with that biogas from the bottom. And it won't smoke, as we saw.
Really? But if you put this, it will smoke.
Huh?
It will smoke. There's no cover.
No, it won't smoke.
When you put this, it's bigger tray.
No, but we're removing this, and there's a center divider here, a divider. This thing here, and the divider that comes up to here that keeps the tray from going in. You see,
Yeah, we got this size because it was the right size, but then we didn't account for the fact that the hardware goes inside of it.
hardware
So
goes
it's not the
inside,
full
so instead of being able to go
size.
like this, it sticks out like
Yeah.
this.
See, what are you gonna cover here instead of this? This is acting also.
Oh, I'll just get aluminum tape. I'll get aluminum tape and tape it. Yeah, with aluminum tape. It's an aluminum thing that they use for ducts. I mean, I can also take a piece of metal, to just put a piece of metal there. We'll cover that thing up. That won't be a big deal, but then this thing will fit in, and then we should be able to get the piece that we need. In fact, if we build a tray out of sheet metal, we can make it exactly the size of the hole in the roof, because this is wide enough, 16 by 20 and a half, and that's 15 and a half by 20.5. It's just that this tray is a little narrower, so we can get the roof patched. I'm pretty darn confident at this point. So I think we have a good success. And then this guy here, shows the kind of product that we're going to get once we're heating it, which is really a rather good piece. Still very hot, but not for these gloves. Right? It'll just be big.
Mm-hmm.
And it's much bigger than this one here. Substantially bigger, much bigger. Isn't that nice? Yeah, this is going to be good. Just imagine one larger than this.
Circle. I didn't notice the circle before.
Oh yeah,
It shouldn't
Oh, that's
affect
from the
anything.
tray.
Yeah.
the tray has a circle in it. Yeah. Well, you can make molds and you can do all sorts of stuff with these. So yeah, that's a success for today. Proven itself. Cut.